Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. This is in fact a tournament game from one of the recent tournaments. I believe it was the King's Cup. This was submitted by Lore Master of Sotek, so we're going to be taking a look at a couple games between him and a Vampire Counts player. So the way this particular tournament worked is everyone went into the tournament with a single faction that they played throughout the entire tournament, and you'd play a best of 3 series against various players. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. Basically, you'd play each series. It was a Swiss style, and in other words, you weren't eliminated if you lost a series. You would continue to play, and then whoever won the most series would get first place, and so on. So yeah, so Lore Master of Sotek has got the Lizardman, and he's going to be fighting up against a Vampire Counts player. Now, this is a little bit of an uphill battle. In my opinion, for the Vampire Counts, the Lizardmen are one of the better counters to them. They definitely still have some tools in this matchup. We'll go ahead and talk about some things. So let's go ahead and take a look at Lore Master of Sotek's build first. He's got a Slaan Mage Priest, Lore of High Magic as his Lord. He's sitting on top of a unit of Temple Guard, which is very lore appropriate to tabletop. For those of you guys who have ever played tabletop, or if you've ever seen tabletop played, this is how the Lizardmen would sit on their base with the Temple Guards with the Slaan kind of sitting in the middle, so very thematic and appropriate there. He's also got some spells here, of course: Apotheosis, Soul Quench for that magic missile, Tempest to pin flying units in place, since you know, things like Terrorgeist, the Red Duke are going to be very common in this matchup. Arcane Unforging as well. He's also got the Blood Statuette of Spite, which is an item that the generic Slaan, all the generic Slaan can carry. Does direct damage, has 4 charges. It doesn't do the most damage, but it's pretty decent. It's solid, definitely. He's also got the Aura of Pretzels, as I like to call it. Plus 30 armor, plus 27 melee defense. And yeah, the typical Slaan ability, Shield of the Old Ones, and Banishment that all the Slaan carry. So yeah, he's also got a couple of units of Source Warriors with shields, a front line of 4 skink cohorts. We've got 2 chameleon skinks on each flank, a Source Scar Veteran up on a Carnosaur for that elite anti-large armor piercing, a solo Croc Score in the center for that armor piercing anti-infantry to help deal with Graveguard, which is not too common of a pick, but I know Lore Master of Sotek is a big fan of Croc Scores. We've also got a unit of Cold One Spear Riders for some more anti-large armor piercing. And I believe that's everything. If I Skink Chief up in the air, of course, this guy's an auto pick in almost every matchup. So yeah, he's going to be poking away at the Vargeist here, or sorry, Vargulf, which we've got 2 of those, 1 on each flank. Center of 3 Cryptors with some Skeleton Spears who should be supporting here, but have been left a little bit behind. We've also got Heinrich Kemmler as the Lord. Mortis Engine, a Banshee, Sternsman. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, also another Graveguard with Great Weapon out on the far side. So all very good picks. Cryptors are going to be good at doing armor-piercing damage to Lizardmen infantry as well as their monsters. They do have the poison as well. The issue with Cryptors is they don't have a lot of armor, only 15 armor, so they're going to be pretty vulnerable to most, all Lizardmen skirmishers. They'll be able to do effective damage. Same thing with his Vargulf, has good armor-piercing and regeneration, same as the Cryptors, but does not have too much armor or mitigation against missile fire, so it is going to take a lot of damage from these skinks here. Mortis Engine, of course, gives that drain. I really like the pick of the Banshee. It's good at doing armor-piercing damage to, big dinos and such. And yeah, it's a bit of a counter pick, and it's interesting in this particular matchup that there's no flying units been brought when the high Slaan is really a hard counter to flying creatures. So the fact that it's a little bit of a mind games here being played, bringing Heinrich Kemmler on the ground. Granted, Heinrich Kemmler is a very powerful character. You can see a Banishment going down here. I believe that was also the Blood Statuette of Spite, and the Shield of the Old One's probably going to be popped here to help protect these Source Warriors, who did take a little bit of that Banishment, unfortunately, but that Banishment is pretty much wiped out this unit of Graveguard. You can see this Source Scar Veteran diving in here, trying to get on these Vargulfs, I'd imagine. Croc Scores are standing in, fighting up against Cryptors in a bit of a monster mash here in the center, which is not ideal. They're more of an anti-infantry type unit, at least in Total War Warhammer. The Spear Riders, Cold One Spear Riders, are also standing in here. They're going to be very good against the Cryptors. You can see both units of Cryptors crumbling here because they're low leadership, but Heinrich Kemmler, I'd imagine, is going to be trying to get in melee to proc that Chaos Tomb Blade. Let's go ahead and look at what he's carrying here. Looks like Invocation of Nehek. He does indeed have that Chaos Tomb Blade, but he doesn't need to be in melee for it to be active. He's also got Raised Dead, and of course Summon Krell. I believe I didn't see Krell pop up, and I know summons are currently bugged. Oh, no, there he is. He's here in the back line, terrorizing these poor little skinks back here. Man, Krell is a really cool looking dude. But yeah, he's a powerful character, and kind of the counterplay here is that since no flying units have been brought, this high Slaan's not going to be as effective as it could be. You can see Skink's trying to hold up here. He's running away with the Slaan, trying to stay away from Krell. Clearly, you can see Krell's got his axe out, going to be charging over here, trying to get on the high Slaan here as he drops some Kamehamehas on top of the grave guards here. And yeah, looks like Krell's actually getting in here, laying a few beatings on the high Slaan. This is going to be very unfortunate. The high Slaan will take a lot of damage here from Krell, obviously, with his heavy armor-piercing weapon strength. Skink missiles trying to help support here, but the high Slaan's in pretty bad shape. He's trying to pull it into the vampire backline, but Krell is fast enough that he can kind of get attacks onto him, especially with the poison there. Actually cold-blooded, rather, debuffing the speed, so it is going to give that healing, and the additional armor as well, will help mitigate a little bit of that damage. But things are looking pretty dicey for the Lizardmen, all things considered. This death blob right here is actually very much favoring the vampire counts, because he can get this really nice Mortis Engine effect. In fact, if we go ahead and look at the template here for the Mortis Engine effect, it's this one here that causes damage to combatants. It's hitting a lot of those Lizardmen troops, so he's got it in the perfect position there. Probably just barely got out of the range of the Source Warriors, unfortunately. But yeah, the Vargulfs almost have been dealt with, but that being said, this one, I say that this one's been able to regenerate a lot of damage here. This one is regenerating nicely, just not quite enough Skink Fire, and the Cold Wind Spear Riders have been mostly dealt with, so things are looking pretty rough for the Lizardmen at this point, all things considered. High Slaan has made his full lap in kind of floating on his toilet seat all the way around the battle, and has come back into his own back line. His Cold Wind Spear Riders have come back fighting up against the Vargulf, but the Vargulf does cause terror, and although a lot of the Lizardmen units are cold-blooded, they're not immune to psychology. Even these Temple Guards here are not immune to psychology, so the terror is eventually going to kick in at some point here. Scar Veteran's fighting in admirably, and you can see Heinrich Kemmler is up to his healing cap, having taken a lot of damage here. I'd imagine that Skink Priest, or the Skink Chief rather, has just been focused on him the entire time, as he should be, just poking away continuously, and Heinrich Kemmler, there's nothing he can do at this point. He's going to die eventually. But that being said, I think that the Vampires are going to be able to pull out a victory in this match. Both the Vargulfs are still very healthy, as well as the Mortis Engine here. And yeah, there's still a couple units of Cryptors standing around as well. Krell himself is also still alive somehow, terrifying away these poor little skinks on the side, and beating up some of the remaining Saurus Warriors. Man, what did the skinks ever do to you, Krell? Adorable little guys. But anyway, you can see the balance power very much turning against the Lizardmen at this point. The Saurus Scar Veteran is still trying to fight in here, but getting ganged up on by all these Cryptors and the Vargulfs here, and the Banshee is somewhere in there, I think. Yeah, you can see her banner, but yeah, she's having a good old time standing in that mess there. But the fact is, when the Banshee's in a situation like this, she can do a lot of damage, and she's going to take almost no damage in return, because any attacks that come her way, because of the way the splash damage works, are going to be split up by, into all nearby targets. So the Banshee won't take a lot of damage herself, even though, if a Scar Veteran had her singled out one-on-one, he has enough weapon strength to really put a smacking on her. But unfortunately, soaked in with all these other fodder units, he's just not going to be able to make solid contact. So a lot of the Lizardmen routing off at this point. We do have some trying to regroup here, but the Cold Wind Spear Riders deciding to run back to their temple cities. And yeah, I don't know what happened to the... Oh, here's the high Slaan out here. The Banshee actually might take some damage here, because the Slaan does do magic damage, but she will probably be able to finish him off. Let's see what happens here as these two kind of duke it out with the Mortis Engine draining that big blob in the background. I don't think the Slaan will be able to survive this. I don't know. I say that. He's doing a lot of damage to this Banshee. This probably wasn't the best idea, actually, for the Banshee, but misses on a few attacks there. Going to be coming over with the Scarvet as well, so that is going to set the Banshee to crumbling. So she's going to run back over to her friends here, the Skink Priest, or Skink Chief, rather. I always get that mixed up. Skink Chief is continuing to poke away at her as well. That crumbling is going to be nice, but Apotheosis being dropped on the Scar Veteran here. Lore Master of Sotek trying desperately to pull it back. The Vargulfs are very low. A lot of these troops here are crumbling, obviously, with the death of Heinrich Kemmler. Their leadership's very low. The healing cap has been reached for a lot of these units, though, and that's really rough when facing the vampires, when they can get so much value from that healing. That's really, you know, how the vampire counts are most effective. So very well played to Loremaster's opponent here in kind of keeping things all together, keeping that drain and that the heal effects and everything stacked on top of each other. You can see a little bit of skink fire coming in here at this point, but it's pretty much going to be the end for the Lizardmen. Vargulf coming over, starting to lay a smackdown on the High Slaan here, and although he could deal with the Banshee, the Vargulf I think will be too much for him at this point. So, you know, I say that he's not making the most solid contact here, but the Mortis Engine drain is getting to him at this point. Skink Chief has come down into battle to try and take out that Mortis Engine, and, you know, maybe they could come back, but no. With the Scar Veteran routing off, this High Slaan is unfortunately going to kick the can here, I believe. So, yeah, it is going to be the end for the Lizardmen. Very well played to the Vampire Counts player. We'll go ahead and kind of fast forward through the end here as the Vampire Counts player just mops things up, and the High Slaan did indeed teleport away, leaving behind his awesome toilet seat here for the Vampire Counts to plunder. So let's go ahead and take a look at another replay here. Quickly on the army breakdown, I mean, Temple Guard, of course, is going to be very effective in this matchup. They'll beat down pretty much all Vampire Counts infantry, and they're going to be great against the monsters as well. Chameleon Skinks did good damage in certain circumstances, but at the end of the day weren't able to put enough damage on the low armor monsters here to really make a difference. The Mortis Engine ended up racking up 128 kills with that drain effect, 108 kills on the Sternsmen as well. They were absolute champions, and the Vargulfs also beating down you know, the Scar Veteran and a lot of those other troops. Yeah, kind of the counterplay there of not bringing any flying units versus the High Slaan. It's a pretty rough day. So, spoiler alert, Game 2 we're not going to watch. Loremaster of Sotek did win that, obviously, because there's a Game 3. So let's go ahead and take a look at said Game 3. So this time, Loremaster of Sotek has got 2 Temple Guard. He's got a single Chameleon Skank Croc score. He does have the Revivification Crystal, and instead has brought a High Slaan. So this time, or sorry, a Light Slaan rather than the High Slaan. So this time he's going to be looking for probably multiple banishments, I would imagine. Let's go ahead and take a look at the spell loadout here. And he, of course, the High Slaan is going to be, or sorry, the Light Slaan is going to be sitting on top of one of these units of Temple Guard. He's got, wow, quite a large kit here. Barona's Time Warp, interesting. This is a spell that I've been meaning to try out with the Tomb Kings. 26 melee attack, 24% speed, and a huge area of effect is pretty decent. He does have the Banishment indeed. Net of Ammontok, Shem's Burning Gaze, and False Protection. Oh wow, so he brought the full kit there, as well as Exorcism, of course, which is pertinent against the undead. -8 leadership map wide. So I really like the pick of the Light Slaan here, actually. That Exorcism is going to be really nice against the vampires. Let's see how he handles it. Of course, the Rev Crystal, Croc score, a couple of Saurus Warriors. Actually, just the one Saurus Warrior. Skinks up front with a Skink Chief, so a little bit thinner of a line. He does have the one Chameleon Skink out front for the opponent here. He's got a Red Duke as well as a Terrorgeist, so a bit of mind play here now that he knows that, well, not that he knows, but he can guess that the Loremaster of Sotek's not going to bring the High Slaan. He then brings the Red Duke and the Terrorgeist, which are probably the optimal picks in this matchup. Again, we've got the Crypt Horrors up front, Skeleton Spears for support, Sternsmen, and interestingly enough, a unit of Cairn Wraiths. It's a bit of an odd pick, seeing that Loremaster of Sotek has a propensity to bring Slaans, which, I mean, a single banishment will pretty much destroy a Cairn Wraith, so I'm not sure about that pick. Maybe just looking for some extra armor-piercing damage. He'd also have a single Black Knight out here. And I'm surprised we haven't seen more Blood Knights and other heavy cavalry from the Vampire Counts player. Personally, I'm a big fan of the Varix Reavers as well as Blood Knights, obviously. Blood Knights having that anti-large bonus, and they also have the charge bonus to deal some good damage to armored dinos. I mean, obviously, something like a Terrorgeist is going to be very good for that as well, but you can see the Skink Chief is just going to be going to start poking away at the Red Duke. It doesn't do the most armor-piercing damage, but over the course of a long battle can definitely poke away and force the Red Duke to potentially use up some of the healing on himself, or at the very least eat away at his healing cap. But you can see that Blood Statuette of Spite was dropped on that Cairn Wraith, did about 25% of their HP and damage, so pretty solid there. The mainline engagement's getting underway with Crypt Horrors fighting up against Skinks here. The Scar Veterans is charging in and going to be taking on some of these Crypt Horrors in the center. The Red Duke charging right onto these Saurus warriors who are trying to get onto the back line, start clearing up some of this fodder. The Skinks were routed off in the front line, but the Temple Guard now stabilizing as the anchor. The Terrorgeist is going to come down on Gary the Replication Crystal, which is understandable. It's a very good target for the Terrorgeist, but there are Temple Guards still in the back line for support. The High Slaan looks like he's dropped a Baroness Time Warp in this pocket here, which is going to buff up these Temple Guards to 62 melee attack, just making them absolutely juiced. They're going to be really taking down these Cryptors very effectively. That one unit just popping away completely there. Very good stuff. There's not going to be a lot that can kill those Temple Guard, honestly. It's going to take rear charges from the Red Duke, potentially a breath attack, something else. You can see this flank being broken up, though. Some very nice play by those Black Knights coming in and just smashing those Skinks. For a unit that's as cheap as the Black Knights are for heavy cavalry, they're able to do some pretty effective play here. The Kroxigors got a really nice charge into the Sternsmen here, who actually completely disappeared. We might have to go rewatch that replay. I'm not sure what happened to the Sternsmen there. I've never seen them die that fast, so I must have missed something, but we'll go back and double check that. But you can see the Terror guys getting in that breath attack, potentially trying to at least. The Skink cohorts aren't going to be the best target. I'd probably want to drop that on the High Slaan here. It is very good against large single model targets, so probably want to drop that on the Light Slaan. But the Red Duke trying to drop it on himself. We're going to be getting a banishment drop down in here and doing some really nice damage, trying to clear out as much of those fodder units as possible. This poor skeleton seems to have lost his head as his buddies crumble around him. You can see Gary the Replication Crystal charging through, bullying those Cryptors and just knocking him around. He has the mass to knock him over and keep him from doing attack animations. Two Temple Guard have kind of formed up back to back here, and a bit of a Lizardman Death Star, and unfortunately this has left the Slaan a little bit exposed here. You can see the Red Duke has charged down and done quite a bit of damage. The Skink Chief having to be pressed into service, and the Skink Chief's actually doing some pretty solid damage here, all things considered. There are the Temple Guard now surrounding as well, so the Red Duke, what initially seemed like a very good engagement for him, is going to turn south very quickly. He's popping that Invocation of the Heck on himself for healing. The Mortis Engine as well has taken a ton of damage. This just hasn't been able to shake this Saurus Scar Veteran. It hasn't been able to screen out effectively with the Cryptors, so Hand of the Gods there being popped, doing some okay damage to the Red Duke. He does not look like he's in too good a shape. You can see the balance of power turning in the Lizardmen's favor at this point, so Black Knights, although they're still very healthy, have cleaned up quite a few Skinks. 96 kills on these guys. A very effective play there, but another banishment going to be dropped here, so just relentless banishments by Lord Master of Sotek, just cleaving through a lot of the Vampire Count's fodder here, so very good stuff, all things considered. All these Vampire troops are going to disintegrate at this point, so fun stuff. Yeah. Interesting engagements. So there, it looks like there's some summoned zombies here, so let's go ahead and fast forward here as we get through the end. But yeah, very well played to both players, and that was Thalassocrat there. That was his opponent. Very good stuff. The fact that he was able to steal one game off of Lord Master of Sotek is a very good Lizardman player by all accounts. You know, impressive stuff. And unfortunately in this one he just wasn't able to pull through. The Croc scores 75 kills, 3 chevrons. 119 and 57 on the Temple Guards. They started with chevrons, as you guys saw, but they got some really nice work done as well. 160 kills, holy cow, on that Light Slaan. That the banishment spam there was real, and he can do a lot of work in that situation. Scarvet did its job of helping take down the Mortis Engine. Yeah, just all across the board, pretty effective play. Skink cohorts got a little bit run over, which is sad. You know, this is adorable of a unit as this is. It's sad to see them use as a meat shield, even though that is kind of their purpose. Yeah, so let's go ahead, and I just want to quickly go back in there and see what happened to those Sternsmen, because I did not catch that. There was a unit of Sternsmen there at the beginning of the battle, and then they weren't there later, so I'm not really sure what happened. I just want to quickly check that before I end the video here, because something happened to them and they died really fast, which is not usual, so I want to see what happened. So we'll go ahead and just kind of fast forward through the first part of this replay again. Must have missed that, but I wanted to get a highlight on that because clearly something happened to these guys. So let's see what happened here with these Sternsmen. They are going to get engaged on by these Skinks here. So there goes the blood statue at a spite there. Going to be doing some really nice damage onto these can rays. Those look like they get a little bit engaged on the skinks here on the side. And yeah, so far nothing. I'm not really sure. Let's see. Let's fast forward just slightly. Not too sure what happened. Oh, there we go. That explains a lot of it. Banishment being dropped right on there, and it looks like a follow-up charge directly from the Kroxigors. So, man, this unit of Sternsmen just gets absolutely deleted, and I've never seen a unit die this fast. The Sternsmen, that is, they're one of the tankiest units in the game, if you don't have fire damage, especially. But, wow, they're crumbling already down to 51 unit models. Jeez, that banishment followed up by that Kroxigor charge was brutal. Anyway, that's what I wanted to see there. We can pretty much tell what happened from there. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you very much for Lore Master Sotek for submitting those replays. It was a lot of fun to watch. So hope you guys enjoyed watching as well. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day. So stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.